Hello, welcome to the GPTV Carnegie Report for April. My name's Leo Samuel.
And I'm Aviv Samuel.
Well, welcome viewers to this month's edition. In Gary's absence, I've got a special guest on the show today, my brother, who hasn't been on the show since, I believe, Aviv, what was it, August last year? And that was about July last year. Yeah. And that was 6 weeks before your wedding day back then. And a lot's happened outside of real estate sales and in the real estate world. But Aviv, how are things going with you now?
Actually, things are really good at the moment. Funny enough, last time I was on the show was about 6 weeks before I was getting married, and here we are sitting down on the couch again, and 6 weeks before I'm expecting my first child. So things are really happening.
Well, congratulations, Aviv. All exciting times ahead.
Indeed.
I know, I can tell you'll be busy with, you think real estate hours are busy, wait till the family comes.
Absolutely.
And Aviv, unbelievable. We're already in April this year. Where's this year gone? It's just unbelievable how time flies. And we've been busy at the team at Gary Peer and Associates, some amazing results, which we'll cover off on shortly, and some good listings that we'd like to cover off too. But yeah, we're in April now. It's a bit quieter than usual in relation to the atmosphere. You can really feel it just before Easter and school holidays, that the vibe's definitely out there. But the sales, Aviv, let's cover off on some of them now, because it's been some very exciting results across the board with the team at Gary Peer and Associates. And the first one we should maybe cover off on, Aviv, is the one that we had at 5 Graceburn Avenue, Carnegie, where we filmed the March edition of the report. And what a result and auction that was. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, it's actually great to stand on that property. Over the course of the campaign, which was 3 weekends, and obviously the 4th week being the auction week, we had a lot of groups that inspected, a lot of buyers actually that inspected that property, had been looking for more than sort of 6 to 12 months, looking around Caulfield and the surrounding suburbs, but just kept missing out. So they sort of ventured across the Grange Road border, I guess if you want to call it, into that Glen Huntly via Carnegie pocket. And a couple of them were actually there on the day putting their hand up, and some of them missed out. And
just so the viewers know, that we had a reserve of $1,450,000, and it just went crazy with the 3 bidders going for that one. The eventual selling price we got was $1,647,000, and like Aviv said, we sold to a buyer who'd been looking for quite some time. And congratulations to both vendor and purchaser there. It's an absolute beauty of an offering that one was. And look, the demand for house and land is unbelievable at the moment. The next one, the same time, when we did the one in Graceburn Avenue, Gary Peer and Lisa Alberts and Daniel Rees from the office had the auction at 17 Royal Avenue, Glen Huntly. And how well did that one go, we hear?
Well, I heard there was, 5 or 6 bidders that were there on the day. Very competitive auction, and great result, and congratulations to the vendors.
Yeah, so sold for $1,711,000 in a top pocket of Glen Huntly there. Some other sales we'll cover off on. We had a great offering at 23 Perth Street, Marinbina, that Graham Callan from the office had the opportunity to handle for some lovely vendors there. I was at the auction seeing Graham do his stuff at that auction, and I'll tell you what, he did a pretty good job there.
I tell you what I think it was the chocolates, because it really stalled, and then what Graham did was when he went for a bit of a walk and handed out chocolates, and then all of a sudden it just fired up again. So
yeah,
I think
it's definitely sweetened things up with that result. We're expecting interest into the high 1.4s there, and it's an undisclosed price, but I can tell you it sold almost, not to read between the lines here, almost about a couple $100,000 over the reserve price there as well. Aviv, we love selling in East Malvern as well, and we sold this one on behalf of a great client. We managed it for years, and that was at 1982 Malvern Road, Malvern East. And what a campaign that was that we handled together there, with the numbers and the response over the 4 weeks. Want to tell us a bit about that result?
Yeah, that was a great property also to handle, and look, it had a good floor plan to work with, and beautiful period features. And congratulations to the buyer, who in time is going to add their own final, nice touches to the property, and I think they'll get some, good growth in time in that pocket. And
being a one of a pair clinker brick, and look, one of a pairs outside of the freestanding homes are very popular, because people always, when they're buying houses, they want a bit of sort of front and rear yard and some pathways as well. But I can tell you this offering went really well with the 5 bidders there. We were hoping to get somewhere into that sort of mid to high 8 range. Vendor's reserve was set at $850,000, and we ended up selling it for $1,035,000. Great result, $1,035,000 for that offering that was sold. The other sale the same day, we had an apartment, more on the apartment side of things as opposed to house and land, was the one at 388 Dunoon Street in Marinbina. We're expecting interest in that sort of early to mid 4s. Graham did a great job handling that. A funny story to this one, because it was sold very competitively on the day with 3 bidders. We sold it for $506,000, but the interesting part of the story is that the buyer that we actually sold it to, funny enough, was actually rented this place 10 years ago and loved it so much that when he saw it came on the market, he decided to buy it and for an investment. So an interesting story to that. And properties, they think you can make a home out of properties. And this one here obviously left an impression in order to buy. And congratulations on that purchase there to the lucky buyer. Now, Aviv, in Oakley South, we've had a bit of a run, you and I, selling in Oakley South, land offerings there. We'll talk about, first of all, the industrial. We don't just sell residential real estate. And last year, as you know, we sold churches, we sold shops, blocks of flats. But industrial land this time at 29 Fulton Street, Oakley South. Aviv, you want to tell us about that auction? It was an interesting one, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Not a big crowd, but I can tell you there was close to 20 to 30 people there. Very realistic reserve. We couldn't believe it. So
700,000 the reserve was set for. We did a Thursday auction, so not just your usual weekend auctions. Decent crowd, as you said, 20, 30 people there, but two buyers competing for that one. Sold for under competition for 753,000 on a reserve of 700. And thank you for the vendors for entrusting us with some industrial land in the heart of Oakley South. And as I said about Oakley South, on the few days later, Aviv and I had the opportunity to sell 272 Warragul Road in Oakley South. And what an auction that one was as well, Aviv. We had a block of land on Warragul Road, on the cusp. One side of Warragul Road is East Bentley. And I called it a few years ago that Oakley South, I reckon, is a great growth pocket because of the demand for house and land. But that old house, that terrible house from a living standard, and open for inspections. We stood clear of the internal of the home, but I did have plans and permits for two beautiful architecturally designed townhouses. But we're expecting a couple of buyers going into that auction, expecting interest around that sort of mid-8 range, Aviv. And what do you know? 5 bidders on the day, taking it all the way to $985,000 and the $100. So $985, $100. To a local investor who we've done a lot of business for in the past.
But it was actually just, I was going to say one thing, it was actually really interesting while you're conducting the auction and taking bids. This gentleman just walked in halfway through and just stood there, grabbed himself a lollipop, stood in the corner, looked at you, looked at me, and just started bidding. It was actually quite funny, and he ended up buying it. But people were sort of thinking, who is this guy? Who just comes and
I think he liked that lemon tree, because we did conduct the auction in the backyard.
And the fig tree.
And the fig tree. Don't forget the fig tree as well. The demand for land is unbelievable, as I mentioned before. And the one that we had around the corner in Carnegie at 2 Newman Avenue, what an auction that was conducted by Philip Kingston and sold very well by the team, the Krongold Zellman team, and Daniel Fisher, who was marketing on behalf of the clients there. Very competitive auction here, 5 bidders to a buyer that literally bought it for wanting to, I think, establish just the home, not for land development potential, but bought it for $2 million on the day. But just shows you capital appreciation in Carnegie, and one reason why we opened up our office on a permanent basis 2 years ago, because I believe 4 or 5 years ago that the owners of this land, Aviv, paid $950,000 for it. So we talk about homes or property doubling every sort of 7 to 10 years period, but here 4 to 5 years, from into the mid-9s up to $2 million on the day. The scarcity of land continues to be around, but that one there, a great result. And we've had a great run selling top-end homes in Carnegie, but $2 million for a good block of land there as well. Other few sales that we should cover off before we cover off the new listings and general market gossip for the area is the villa unit that Graham had in Walker Street, Aviv, 2 at 13 Walker Street, Marinbina, 1 of 3 on the block. Tell us a bit about that one.
Sure. So this one, we had a number of bidders that were there on the day that did put their hand up. But what happened was, even though we didn't quite hit the reserve price, we did pass it in, and straight after Graham did an amazing job negotiating, and we did get that sold straight after. Yeah,
so sold for $707,000. A few other sales that we'll cover off on was that other amazing development we had on behalf of some really good clients of ours in Adams Street. So last month's edition, we covered off on 13 Adams Street, where we previously filmed one of our mother editions, the GP TV report at 38 Adams, but 11 Adams, the other half of the block that we sold, Aviv. Another great campaign, and very thankful to have the opportunity to market that on behalf of some great clients. We sold that for $1,650,000, and congratulations to both buyer and seller on that purchase and the sale of that one, because it was a very unique offering for the Marinbina market, and especially with that plunge pool and that amazing fit out, and sold really well. And Marinbina as well, another area that just gets better and better in time. So anything else?
So I was just going to say, just in terms of where we're going with building. Like that was such a beautiful home, and we had so many people, especially a lot of local builders, they came to have a look to sort of get ideas, and even people that are sort of inspired by the block, they even inspected it to get some ideas about how to, you know, a bit of landscaping, or even, you know, the kitchen or the Carrera marble that seems to be quite in fashion at the moment. But it was very interesting. It was
a smart design, because the block originally was, well, it was an irregular block that was subdivided. But yeah, we did have a lot of people getting ideas there, especially for, you know, the price of freestanding homes in Marinbina, the entry point between $1.2 to $1.4 million for usually around that 600 odd square metre mark, Aviv, or side by side options, which people are looking to do a lot. But yeah, Adam Street definitely set a new benchmark and a standard for Marinbina, in my opinion. So, Aviv, before we cover off on the new offerings in the market, tell us a bit about sort of your life and how your business is going.
Yeah, things have been really good. We've actually recruited the receptionist from Gary Pier to work alongside me.
So our Director of First Impressions, Tanya Crawley, has since joined the ranks of sales. We've been holding you back for quite some time to get into the sailing arena, but Tanya, with her energy, and she's going to do it right, but working alongside Aviv as a bit of a buyer's agent role, or what we call sort of servicing buyers, and assisting Aviv throughout his listings and selling campaigns. But Tanya, she'll be doing it right, and maybe put a picture up of Tanya through this month's edition so you can check her out. But
I just want to say one thing. She kind of reminds me a little bit of myself when I sort of started working in the game. And what I mean by that, she just had that passion to want to work in sales for such a long time. And like you said, you guys sort of held her back, but it's kind of like how I was, because I started originally as a buyer's agent for many years working alongside you.
That's right.
And when we opened up the doors in Carnegie in March 2015, I guess I sort of took off. It was like a slingshot, as Gary would say. You sort of kept holding me back and keep going further and further. But eventually, you let go of me, and whoosh, you know, it's sort of what.
Well, definitely right. You're definitely right there, Aviv, because real estate is a serious industry, and you've really sometimes got to hold back, you know, the staff to realise appreciating what's an offer, because it's not just your normal, you know, no offence to bank workers out there that work out of teller. It's not your usual bank hours in real estate. Yeah. It's a lot of part of our life, and that's why. We're very passionate in the industry, or more so the team at Gary Pier and Associates. We love real estate, and obviously we want to do our best for our clients all there. And I think Tanya, for instance, under Viv's guidance, is going to do very, very well in time. Yeah. So outside of that, we talk a bit about the market of Viv, how you find things as well in general.
We're going to talk about what's coming up for you.
Big
day on the 17th of April.
17th of April, the Aries baby I am. Yes, it is my birthday. I'm turning 37.
You look fantastic for 32 years old, I must say, Leo.
Thanks, Aviv. You dropped 5 years there, but 37 years old. And yeah, my son Hudson is actually turning 7. So happy birthday, Huddy, as well. Yeah. Looking forward to celebrating your birthday as well.
So, Leo, tell us about the new attraction that just opened up on the weekend in Glen Huntly.
Well, anyone that's driving through Glen Huntly these days will have noticed a lot of scaffolding up. But guess what? Now it's gone, and Bruin Reserve has just opened up. Unbelievable! What a park! Congratulations to the City of Glen Eira for spending such an incredible amount of money, well above budget, up to tunes of I believe $10 million on some fantastic open space. So the Bruin Reserve, corner Bruin Road and Glen Huntly Road, amazing parklands there. Well needed as well in Glen Huntly. Usually Caulfield Park, Aviv and Princess Park usually take the cake in the City of Glen Eira. But how amazing the facilities there. I went with the boys, my boys, the other day to walk through there with the double flying foxes, the slides, trampolines, and even the water feature as well. Some unbelievable open space. Definitely going to be a big attraction draw card to the Glen Huntly buyers to this local market as well, even more so. And you should check the footage out on that one as well. But that's some amazing open space, which, all the residents and the local investors would love to get some quality property in the vicinity, because that's definitely a big plus to the area. The viewers, if you're ever keen to know what other offerings we've got amongst the group at Gary Pier and Associates, and how about this offering where we are, 5A Foster Street, Glen Huntly. I love this home, and I can tell you what, we sold the other half a few years ago of this offering, and I can tell you that it was a very popular offering back then. But here, this time round, being an avid fan of Glen Huntly, because I live in Glen Huntly myself, check out this floor plan, and we'll pan through some of the footage of the floor plan, and I believe Philip did a great virtual tour here as well. But check where we are now in this unbelievable living zone at the rear of the home here. But what buyers won't know that, you know, you hear a lot of standard townhouses, but this is a proper town residence. This is like of the highest of quality. I believe it's the interior designer themselves had this designed and built for them, purpose built. And the fit out here is unbelievable, second to none. I reckon this is one of the best townhouses to hit Glen Huntly for quite some time. We had the honour to sell the most expensive home in Glen Huntly last year in Augusta Street, but this town residence, I think was going to set a new benchmark for a brand new or near new offerings in the market. So bedroom accommodation, do you want to fill in the viewers of what we've got here?
Sure, so it's quite a spacious property. As you can see, it's got
4 bedrooms.
4 bedrooms, and you've got your 3 bathrooms as well. And what I love about this particular townhouse, which is unique, or not necessarily unique, but different to most of the other sort of townhouses that you see built at the moment, you've got the double garage. I think that's quite special. I know the fact is I live in a townhouse myself, and every morning I have to get up early to move my car to the driveway so my wife can get in and get out. So I like the fact that you've got the option, you can park both cars inside the garage. So you've got ample
car parking space, but yeah. I think it's more than a townhouse in my opinion, because I call this more of a town residence, because you technically got no sort of common area with the subdivision, but the multiple living zones with the 4 bedrooms upstairs with additional living zone downstairs is a big plus. But the fit out here with even the kitchen, the Carrara marble bench tops and the outdoor, it's definitely got the best of indoor outdoor living. So another few offerings we should cover off on, Aviv, is the one that I've going to auction at 180 Oakley Road in Carnegie. A lovely 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom villa unit. I've got a thing for villa units. I think, from an investment point of view, single level villas with low owners corporation fees, demand for single level homes, no one above you, no stairs, etc. These are the things you buy. Downsizers are going to love this one in Oakley Road, close to all the action of Koonang Road. One side you've got the bustling Asian restaurants and public transport aspects, but then on the other side you've got the fabulous left field coffee shop as well.
Well, you might see myself or you at any sort of in between opens on the weekend. If we've got some time, we'll always sort of duck in there and have a good coffee.
When we're not having our coffees at our auction, on bringing our show with our coffee van on the road, Aviv. The other offering as well in Union Street as well, Aviv, that Glen Brick is handling as well. We want to talk a bit about that one.
7 to 36 Union Street. I actually like this one. The fact is that it's split level, and the fact you've got a garage and townhouse, and it's a great location in Brighton East. I'd highly recommend to see that. It's a great entry point if you're a sort of first home or a second home buyer, or even for investors too. With money so cheap, you can you might as well buy yourself a good investment rather than keep the money in the bank.
Well, we talked about, and we're expecting interest somewhere, I believe, in the 8 to 880 within
Correct.
that price range should go really well. So coming back to Marinbina, we talked about the success of Adam Street that we had. Now we've got an amazing offering, which is actually off the plan on behalf of some good clients of mine, and that is 18 Atkins Street in Marinbina. So buyers out there who are wanting to buy a property, put a deposit down, and wait approximately around 12 months to get themselves into an opportunity, check out this one. So lot number 2, so it's a brand new Carter Grange townhouse, selling off the plan at the moment. So get in early with this one because I think it's going to go really quickly. Private sale for $1,325,000, 3 bedrooms, plenty of living zones, and a fabulous area to be in, close to Oasis, Mediterranean supermarket and kebab shop where Aviv likes to spend a lot of lunchtimes dropping the weight, of course. But no, definitely on a serious note, brand new Carter Grange townhouse. Check this one out. Private sale as opposed to an auction for those buyers. You know the price and you know what you can buy it for. So Viv, that's a bit of a wrap of some offerings that we've got. We won't sort of go through full offerings for the month of April. We'll leave it to May. Anything else about the market? How are you finding things?
Well, I'm finding it interesting. There's a lot of buyers still out there, always asking questions. What have we got coming up, etc. The stock levels seem to be not as strong or sort of. There aren't so many listings available as there were 12 months ago. I sort of feel myself. But having said that, look, the market's been really strong. We had a great first quarter for 2017, I feel. Well, I did amongst myself and my team.
It's been amazing across the groups. But like just talking about, the results, listings, we're a bit of a holiday season now. But people always want to talk real estate. But
Correct.
I can tell you this from a clearance perspective, we sold 23 from 25 the first week of April, and the 91%. Week before that, what did we sold 16 from 16. So the demand and the results out there. And an interesting note, I actually want to bring up that we sold 4 properties on the weekend. And, we talk about we have vendor meetings before auctions and giving them feedback, and we do our feasibility on price assessment. An interesting note that I was going back to my notes to look at, that I sold 4 properties alongside you and Graham as well last weekend, but the 4 buyers that ended up buying the property actually came on the day of the auction.
Correct.
So we talk about going into an auction, what the interest is like. But that was a very interesting stat because I've been in real estate 18 years. I can't recall a weekend that I've actually had buyers just coming to auction day and ended up being the successful bid. A lot of the buyers in the mix were underbidders and we identified them as having interest leading into that. But I thought to put it out to you, to the buying public, that yes, we can talk about how campaigns are tracking up to auction day, but having that 4 buyers going from the day shows you the confidence and people are putting their money to market into real estate as an investment opportunity or a long-term sort of investment or occupying purposes for downsizing intentions in time. But real estate is definitely on their radar for buying.
Absolutely. But I was just saying, you're saying 4 from 4, but there were multiple. With some of the auctions we had 4, 5, even up to 6 bidders. So, and some of them we didn't even recognise who they were. So, just as, in terms of the stats, it may even be higher than that case. So, but yeah, definitely a strong market at the moment.
So, viewers out there, we hope you've enjoyed the wrap for April. It's good to have you on deck today, Aviv, in Gary's absence, and Philip, both of them having a bit of time off. And I'm very thankful to have my younger brother. If you didn't put 2 and 2 together, Aviv, I am Lior Samuel, and here's Aviv Samuel. We are brothers. And yes, I am the older one. The short one usually gives it away. But Aviv, you're doing very well.
Thank you.
Continue the success.
Thank you.
Viewers out there, we look forward to seeing you out in the real estate field. But if you ever want to discuss real estate, please discuss with Aviv or any of the members at the team at Gary Peer and Associates. And all the best with Tanya working alongside you. But viewers, have a great holiday season in the meantime. But we look forward to seeing you in the next edition for May. My name's Lior Samuel.
And I'm Aviv Samuel.
Speak to you soon.